I got the Stanley. Oh no, that's the case for this camera. It's alright, didn't break it. Yeah, the other thing is, I can't remember. I'm going to stop the video now. Hi, I'm Tangles. This is my garage, and this is my car. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, whatever it is, wherever you are. As per standard operating procedure, it's been ages since I've actually done any filming in the garage. I have at least done some events. I did some drifting. It's now January. It's now February actually. I did QR drifts again in January, and I've been to Willowbank again and run another quarter mile or 7. And those videos will, show what happened there. But importantly, and despite what it looks like outside, if I were to show you, which I will. Despite that, the forecast is actually quite good for Sunday, which is Queensland Raceway Street Sprints Round 1. So obviously, if you've watched my previous or earlier videos, you know that what I have done to the car, I've kept it in line to run a specific series, which is the Queensland Time Attack series in the specific class, which I think was Turbo B2 from memory. And everything was angled towards that, especially the biggest thing being these tyres, having to have a 140 tread wear rating or higher printed on the tyre. It actually being that and having it printed on the tyre. Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to run that series. That series, so the dates come out in January for when and where all that's happening. Now there is a series at Queensland Raceway on Wednesdays and Thursdays, which as someone who normally works during the week, that's not feasible. So I can't run that series. The other series is at Lakeside. Now, to anyone local to Brisbane or any motorsports fans in Australia, they'll know what that track is. That is a very fast circuit, high speed cornering, and like it is a very good circuit. I've run 1,000 laps in sims like R Factor. It's a very challenging track, but it's also a very dangerous track. Last couple of years, I can't remember sort of any of the last few years going by without someone dying there, just because of the track layout, and there's barriers and stuff quite close to the track. Not a lot of runoff. So and I do want to run there, but I don't want to run there without the adequate safety gear. So the minimum that I set myself is a roll cage, a harness device, and obviously a harness to facilitate the harness device. That's my minimum safety requirements to run at Lakeside. That I've priced up. I can get that for $3,000 or less. But I had another parameter, which is I had to be working regularly before I would go and spend that money, and I just haven't found regular work. The time limit to be able to get the cage made, because it's made by a company, but they'll make it to order. They've got a preset jig or whatever design that they'll use for a 4-door 33, but they will make it to order. They won't, they don't have them sitting around. So that's about 6 weeks to get it made. And that series at Lakeside, and that's on Saturdays and Sundays, that starts in about 6 weeks. So that's the time limit for that has pretty much been and gone. Now I'd always intended, well, I didn't always intend, but sort of a couple of weeks into the year I thought as a backup series, there is the Ipswich Street Sprints at Queensland Raceway, which is where I've run before. It's where the Jap Nats were. And so that's what I'm going to be running on Sunday. I'm happy I'm not going to kill myself out there. There's lots and lots of runoff, lots and lots of sand traps. There's no guarantee. Motorsports it can be risky and dangerous. A guy died out there a couple of years ago, throttle jammed wide open coming into turn 6. Smashed into the wall. It was a young guy with a leading instructor who flew out from Europe to, train this kid for the weekend. And the instructor died. He was in the car with him. And the young bloke, I'm not sure what happened to him, but like his legs were crushed, and yeah, it was not good. So yeah, there was one fatality and one severely injured, may never drive a car again sort of incident. So that was pretty bad, and that happened there at QR. So no matter how much runoff you got, strange shit can happen and you can get hurt. I'm willing to take that risk, you know, mitigate that risk and put things in action in place to prevent the risk from becoming too great in my mind, like the requirements that I have put together in my mind to run at Lakeside. No, I will not run there until I have those. Yeah, so anyway, as a result, I'll be running the sprints on Sunday. And oh, what I haven't showed you is I've bought another bar here. This is a standard bar, factory bar for the 33, and that's probably going to be the bar that lives on this car in the future, because this one is going to be heavily modified and splittified. I've also been wing shopping without actually buying a wing. Another requirement, you know, get a job before you spend money on car parts. And that wing design is also to suit those rules for that class that I was talking about, the Queensland Time Attack series. I may still be able to get, you know, into that series just later in the season. It just depends on getting working time. I haven't done anything with the car really, so that's why I haven't really recorded much. I have just had a whole month of uploading my videos, sort of one a day, sometimes even 2 and 3 a day. And I've missed a couple of days here and there too. I've got a life. I'll, you know, go out on weekends or whatever. Because I haven't been working, I had lots of time to, you know, edit stuff together and throw it all together, so to fill in my time while I'm not working. That's what I did, and I'm quite surprised at how many people seem to have taken an interest in it. So pleasantly so as well. So thanks to the people who are watching the series. I sort of figured I might get 15 or 20 people watching, and that, yeah, worldwide, and that'd be about it. But I've already got 50 subscribers, and some videos have got several hundred hits already. So, which is not, you know, it's not viral or anything, but it's more than I expected. Yeah. So there's a lot of motorsports on this year. There's people who say, oh, there's nowhere to go to do motorsports. I can literally, in the next 10 weeks, go to 2 motorsports events a week in this car. As it stands, with no roll cages or anything like that. I can go and enter all these events, and that's a mixture of drifting, sprints, you know, timed events, non-timed events, so on and so forth. And that doesn't include things like which is on at Queensland Raceway now, your Saturday night rolling racing, which I am not a big fan of. You know, that's your power cruise crowd and things like that. Those guys with 500-600 horsepower Skylines that go really fast in a straight line, but they've got no sense. And having said that, you know, like a fucking a 10-second Skyline is a cool thing. Like, there's no denying that, and the engineering involved and in those things is amazing, and I like that stuff. The power cruise crowd and that's not really my thing. I don't want to offend anyone, but yeah, if you're spending that much money on the car, you might as well use it properly. Either drag race it if that's your thing, or circuit race it. You know, and that doesn't mean you have to do it every week or get right into it, but you should do it a couple of times, I think. Anyway, that's my thought, my opinion, and it may not be yours, it may not be the same as yours, it may be the same as yours. Doesn't make it right or wrong. In my mind, it's right. I don't care what you think. No, yeah, that's where I'm at with motorsports. You should do. You should just get amongst it without having to blade up and down local streets. There's plenty of track time, at least around Brisbane. There's plenty of places to go, and it doesn't cost much. Queensland Raceway, Friday night drifts, $80. I think it's $80 or 85. $85 and 3.5 hours of the track's open for 3.5 hours for unlimited runs. The safety requirements is a helmet, long sleeve shirts, long pants, and closed shoes. You know, it's not difficult, it's not restrictive. They got a skid pan there that you can just get done that for $65, but I wouldn't bother. If you've got anything like a half decent car, and I don't mean very powerful, just anything that handles reasonably well, you should be able to have more fun skidding out in the main circuit. And don't be embarrassed if you spin. Everyone spins. I spin heaps. And it is a little bit embarrassing, but who gives a shit? Just get amongst it. Don't worry about what other people think about your driving. Unless it's me, in which case you should really worry about my opinion. But yeah, just yeah, that's there. You got the Archerfield Thursday night drifts, which is the same requirements and similar cost, like $70 or whatever. I can't remember what it is. Maybe it's 90. It might even be more. It's a tighter circuit. Yes, there's lots of tyres and walls, but travelling that slowly that you just get out of the gas for a second, you'll stop. So you're just not going very fast. You're fine. You shouldn't hit anything. Go to both those places, try it out. I did, loved it, doing it more. And then try out a sprints event, or so my club has an event up on the Sunshine Coast, a series. There were 6 events last year, I think. It's called the House of No Stairs Gymkhana. It's not a gymkhana, it's a carnacross, I think is the correct term. Having said that, you know, that was a fun little event. I've only run that once. It's a long way for me to go, and you know, and we all go together to certain things like the hill climb. We all grouped up there, but that, you know, that event that fills up pretty quickly. But there's all sorts of cars running in that. There's Hyundai Excels, there's little Corollas, there's crappy old 3 Series BMWs that are completely stock. You can run anything, Nissan Pulsars, anything you like, you know. And yeah, it's timed, but who cares? That is actually Cam's event. You need a Speed S2 level license to enter that event. The way you go about getting that license is you fill out the paperwork and pay the money. That's it. There's no driving tests involved. There's nothing. You just fill out the paperwork, pay your money, and within a couple of weeks you've got a CAMS Speed S2 or 2S Speed or whatever it's called license sitting in your hand, which opens up a world of events. That's the license I have. Yeah, so you can enter the House and No Stairs stuff, and then you can enter hill climbs, you can enter the super sprints at Warwick, that sort of thing. They're all CAMS events. And this car has passed scrutineering for every event. You know, the CAMS scrutiny is, one wasn't very happy with my brake, not my brakes, my battery clamp. He pulled it pretty hard because he broke it, but you know, I fixed it and got it wedged in there firmly enough that he couldn't pull it out again. So that was it. That's the only thing I've been pulled up for so far. So you don't need a super duper bare car with roll cage and all that sort of stuff. It's all a fallacy. You don't need any of that. Like I said before, I'm not going to run Lakeside without a roll cage, because Jesus Christ, that's dangerous. But there's plenty of other places you can run without a roll cage, and it's relatively safe. I say relatively safe. So yeah, I don't want to hear anyone's excuses as to why they're not driving their car on a racetrack somewhere. If that's what you're into. If you're just into looking at cars, fine. You can just look at them. Go nuts. You know, it's a spectator sport just as much as any other sport. So by all means, look on if that's your thing. Yeah, I'm probably done talking. I've just been talking at the camera for a little while. I'm sort of realising at 50 subscribers and 1,500 views, I think, in a month, that some people are interested in what I'm doing. So I decided I'd come down and have a bit of a chit chat. I'll give you a quick look around the garage too. So I haven't got an immense amount of tools either, you know. It's not like I've got engine stands or anything. I got the Stanley. Oh no, that's the case for this camera. It's alright, didn't break it. I got the Stanley toolkit, which is mostly sockets, a handful of spanners, you know, some pretty standard stuff, pliers and multi-grips and stuff, some lights, a couple of power tools, not much, some jerry cans, you know, here's things like this, rattle gun. That's quite expensive because you got to buy a drill to get the batteries, and you know, once you buy all that, you've spent a few $100s, but it makes life a lot easier. But you don't have to have them, you know, to do motorsports. You don't need half of the stuff. 2 compressors, a friggin' welder, and that was donated and that was donated. So both compressors I haven't paid a cent for. Yeah, you know, jerry cans are cheap. Coolants and oils and fluids can be expensive, but that's an investment, I find, in the car. Make sure that I don't have to pay something more later for, I don't know, new turbo. a lot of these tools, because I'm 35 and an ex-tradesman, a lot of these tools I already had, you know, angle grinders and all the heavy tools in here. I'm a boilermaker by trade, so yeah. Oops. That boat motor's not mine, that's someone else's, although it's a handy extra 10 horsepower for my boat. Yeah, and you know, I'm not a mechanic or anything, so anyone can do this stuff with a little bit of nous. You don't have to be a genius, you just have to not be stupid, and you have to not be impatient, which I suppose could be considered to be stupid. It's a fairly all-encompassing term, stupid. But yeah, having said that, you know, I have the means or facility and know how to pull this engine and gearbox out of this car in this garage. Height-wise, could be in a bit of trouble for engine cranes, you know, and rebuild the engine and put it back. That's just not that hard in my mind, though. Whereas other people be afraid of it, maybe. I don't know, you tell me. Tell me in the comments, are you afraid to pull the engine out of your car? Probably not. Let's hope not. Are you capable? That's a different question. The other thing too is keep your cardboard boxes. That's going to be my templates for my aero splitter design. Yeah, get amongst it. Get amongst your motorsports. If you can't afford it, that's okay, it's fine. You do have to have some money, and you do have to have 2 cars. I can't recommend that enough. I mean, technically you don't have to have 2 cars, but it's a risk. It's a very big risk that you're going to crash it, or not even crash it, just a mechanical failure due to the massive loads that these cars are under, and that will cause you to lose a couple of days work or whatever because your car's broken. So you know, that's just not worth it in my mind. So cheap little runabout. This car's worth many times that car. But you know, that car gets me to work and back when I'm working, and around about the place. And it's well looked after. There's plenty of bargains laid around. If you look after them, they'll last forever. Alright, I know I said that's about it for about 10 times already, but I think that is about it. You've seen everything that's in my garage. You've seen my car. You've been staring at my car for 15 minutes or an hour. I don't know how long I've been talking at the camera, but I've been talking at it for a while. Yeah, I'm going to call it a day there, and thanks for watching.